This is Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow with our weekly news podcast without my sweet husband, who is in Pennsylvania speaking at the Free Your Mind conference. So I don't have a whole lot of news, but what I do have is relatively interesting. So let's get started. First of all, you might have heard about the triad gag law that is happening in Spain right now. Apparently, this is the result of a new amendment to the Penal Code and the Anti-Terror Law, as well as changes to the National Security Act. As a result of this, the Spanish people cannot hold meetings in public places, plus they have to ask permission from the authorities whenever they wish to protest publicly. So as a result of this, they now have held their first holographic protest outside the Spanish Parliament. That's right, holographic protest. Apparently there is a new website that was set up by the citizens where people are invited to write a text message, leave a recorded voice message, or convert themselves into a hologram. And apparently that's what many people did. So I find this, it's actually called now the New Citizen Safety Law, very interesting, because my feeling is that this is setting some rules for the rest of us around the world. So I just want to briefly go over what some of these things are. They cannot photograph or record police, and of course that's becoming very widespread now that we have the access to the phones, the smartphones. This in Europe now, in Spain, is carrying fines from 600 to 30,000 euros. Peaceful disobedience to authority, 600 to 30,000 euros. Occupying banks as a means of protest, same fine. Not formalizing a protest, the same fine. Carrying out meetings or assemblies in public spaces. Impeding or stopping an eviction. Presence at an occupied space. The police now can blacklist protesters, activists, and alternative press. That's been legalized. Meeting or gathering in front of Congress carries a fine of 600 to 30,000 euros. And apparently if you appeal the fine in court, you have to pay the judicial costs whose amount depends on the fine. Now allows the police random identity checks. It allows for racial profiling of immigrants and minorities. And police can now carry out raids at their own discretion without the need for an order to have been issued. External body searches are now allowed at police discretion. The government can prohibit any protest at will if it feels that order will be disrupted. And also there will be fines for people who climb buildings and monuments without permission. Of course, I kind of feel maybe that's a good thing. Anyway, but most of this I think is really setting precedents for the rest of the world, so I think you need to keep your eye on this particular law and what's happening in Spain. Now, in Moscow, there is a famous toy store called Detski Mir that apparently has been selling figurine soldiers in Nazi regalia at the Russian capital's most renowned children's store, and this is illegal. Apparently, prosecutors are now saying that they are considering charges of inciting hatred and undermining the dignity of veterans of World War II. So we're finding Nazis, of course, everywhere throughout the world right now, and that's the imprinting that they want to happen. They're claiming that this is just a month before extensive ceremonies are planned throughout Russia, marking the 70th anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany. And the article goes on to say that the Red Army's offensive against the Nazis is one of the most revered actions in Russia. So, again, more Nazi news. And Amazon, I have reported on this to you before, but I just wanted to update you on this, that Amazon is continuing to move forward with its new drone tests, and they have received approval once again from the FAA to continue working with their drones. And again, 3 insurance giants now have been given formal approval by the FAA to use drones to observe, catalog, and manage damage caused by natural disasters. And those 3 insurance giants are AIG, State Farm, and USAA. So drones are here to stay, apparently. Someone sent this in on my Facebook page, which I found was interesting. And I think I reported something similar to this before, but again, this is another thing that's ongoing, and that is milk-free cheese made using human DNA strands. Apparently, there is a San Francisco-based group called iGEM that said it can make cheese proteins using genetic sequences found in mammals, and of course that includes humans. The DNA blueprints are inserted into the yeast, which creates cheese that is vegan compatible because of the lack of animal products. The developers are hoping that the milk proteins made from our own species will mean less chance of allergic reactions, which to me is again kind of on that cannibal side because you're going to be eating human DNA strands. So continue to watch this story, and we have reported several times on cannibalism, including people who are taking bits of their own tissue or their partner's tissue or their friend's tissue and eating it on television. So that's moving forward as well. And now, as they're changing history, which Stewart and I talk about all the time, there's a new story out about an Oregon house that they claim, researchers claim, was built a decade before Lewis and Clark first arrived. And experts are saying that perhaps there are Russian farmers who moved down from Alaska before Lewis and Clark reached the Oregon coast, which then, what does that do? Does that give Russia a claim to the west coast of the USA? We're going to find out. Apparently, this log cabin, they're saying, was built as early as 1795, and Lewis and Clark did not reach the Pacific Ocean until 1805. They're also claiming that the log cabin is not representative of pioneer building methods at the time, which therefore suggests that perhaps it was made by foreigners. So, anyway, let's keep an eye on that story as well. And of course, I like to keep you up to date on what's in fashion, right? Well, Jade Smith, who's 16 years old, and of course he is the son of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, both actors, well-known actors. They're calling him in this article the fashion-forward son. Now, personally, if my boys did this, I would not call them fashion-forward because Jaden Smith, 16, claims that he shops for, quote, girl clothes. And apparently they're talking about how that he's never shied away from bold choices, and now he is wearing dresses, apparently. And then it goes on in the article to talk about a whole army of male celebs who've counted themselves as fans of the fashion, including Kanye West, Kid Cudi, Mos Def, ASAP, Rocky, Vin Diesel, Marc Jacobs, Jared Leto, and rock stars like David Bowie and the late Kurt Cobain. So apparently, again, and I've been telling you this before, that of course boys and girls, male and female, we can't really tell the difference anymore. Anyway, he said, this author of this article actually says, we think it's great that Jaden is so happy and at ease with his fashion choices. You're right, Jaden. Dresses aren't just girl clothes when you're rocking them so hard. So again, you want to take a look at these things, and these people are all actors and actresses. They do what they're told. And this kind of leads me into the work that we're doing on the member side, which is actually called soul cleansing. And we're talking about how that souls can be bought and sold, usually as a result of the animal mind and satisfying the animal mind. So a lot of interesting things are happening on the blog this month. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the member side, now is a very good time to do it because Stewart and I always have very good information there that we do not put out on the public side. So check out our membership, please, and join our community because we have a lot of good work being done on that side. And my last article, I actually printed out quite a bit of it, but I'm going to make it short because you can go read it for yourself if you're truly interested. But there was a conference last July held by the University of Cambridge, and apparently there were many key experts in this field that made presentations, including one called Liberating the Pedophile, a discursive analysis, and danger and difference, the stakes of hebephilia. Now, the presentations included, quote, pedophilia interest is natural and normal for human males. At least a sizable minority of normal males would like to have sex with children. Normal males are aroused by children. Now, I find this disturbing, but I have been telling you about how that things are moving and that one day, remember at one time, this was acceptable. And I've been telling you that it's moving in this way, in this direction, and here we have it. Now, in case you don't know what hebephilia is, I will tell you what that is, or define it for you according to the article, is the sexual preference for children in early puberty, typically 11 to 14-year-olds. I have not heard that term before, so since I'm educating myself, I'm going to educate you as well. However, I would invite you to read the entire article. It is rather lengthy, and I think it's really disturbing. So that is the majority of my news for today. Again, Stewart is at the Free Your Mind Conference in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. He will be returning home this week, and of course we are on the heels of our April Spring Healing Conference, which is Addicted to Addictions, Get Hooked on Health Instead. That is coming up very soon, and then our next big event, and I'll put that kind of in quotes, that is our radionics workshop in August. So we are busy preparing the text for that. That will be posted very soon. Join our mailing list if you haven't done that. Our likes on Facebooks continue to increase, which we appreciate. For if you would please like our Facebook fan page, please invite your Facebook friends to like our fan page, because that's how we get our information out, is through you spreading the word. So thank you once again for joining me, Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow, for expansions.com.